What is your profession?
So here we have 2,000 points of Genestealer Cult. I'll be running 3 battalions today, and I'm being extra cheesy because I'm running 3 different Cult gene set traits as well. So we'll start off on the right over here. I've got my Hive Cult battalion. This is 3 squads of neophytes. Each one has 2 heavy stubbers and 2 grenade launchers in it, and each one of those squads is in a truck which has twin autocannon and a heavy stubber. Then we have 2 Achilles Ridge Runners, both of which have got the heavy mining laser, 2 heavy stubbers and flare launchers. And running this battalion is a Magus and a Jackal Alphas. Now I have spent a command point before the beginning of the game for Broodcoven, which means this Magus is going to have a Warlord trait, and it's going to have the Hive Cult Warlord trait. And you'll see how that comes into effect later on. Moving over to the second battalion, I'm running a Rusted Claw battalion. So this is the one that gives me +1 to my armor save if I'm hit by a weapon which is AP minus nothing or AP minus 1. I've got 30 more neophytes, bare bones, just all with auto guns, including the sergeants. And we have Big Daddy today, the Patriarch. He's going to be running this, and another female Magus with a Familiar. And then we have 2 squads of Atalan Jackals, both of which are identical. We've got a Wolf Quad with Atalan Incinerator, basically a 12-inch range heavy flamer, a grenade launcher, and then the remaining guys have got shotguns. Now the 4 regular bikers have also got demo charges, so that's 8 demo charges between these 2 squads. And finally we move on to the Cult of the Four-Armed Emperor battalion, which is all my close combat stuff. We've got 3 squads of Acolytes. First one is just bare bones, no upgrades whatsoever. Second one is a 5-man squad with 2 rock swords, a cult icon, and the Acolyte leader does have the Lash Whip and Bone Sword. And then we've got a 15-man squad with 6 rock swords in there, cult icon, bone sword, and Lash Whip. And finally we have everyone's favourites, the Aberrants, 10 with 2 power hammers, the 2 hypermorphs, because you can take 2 hypermorphs in a 10-man squad, both of which have got hypermorph whip and heavy improvised weapon, and 6 guys just with power picks. We also have a Clamavus with them, and leading this battalion we have a Primus and an Acolyte Icon Ward. Now the Primus is going to have the, again part of the Broodcoven, the Primus is going to have the Cult of the Four-Armed Emperor trait, which means he gets to get back 3 D3 command points, and he also gets a sort of pseudo command point as well, where he can reroll 1 hit, 1 wound, that kind of thing. And the last part of the Broodcoven obviously is the Patriarch, and he is going to have the Wall Crawler trait, which means he's -1 to hit. I have tried running him with the Biomorph Adaptation trait, which gives him the +1 attack, +1 strength. The problem is, I tend to find he's surprisingly fragile, so the fact he gets the -1 to hit with the current Warlord trait is actually, I'm trying that out today, hopefully that'll be a bit better. So there we go, 2,000 points, 3 different cults all working together. We've got lots of stacker over here, ambushing units over here with shooty stuff, and then some hard-hitting close combat potential. Should say I've spent 1 more command point before the beginning of the game to take 2 relics. This guy is taking the cult banner of the Icon Ascendant, which basically means +1 strength to everyone around him, and this Magus is taking the Crouchling, which means she knows 1 more power and she gets +1 to her casting rolls. So I know, bit of a longer intro than normal guys to the army, but I'm taking a bit more of a complicated Genestealer Cult army today. Let's see what it's facing off against. So here we have what the cult is facing today, Imperial Guard with some serious armor support. So we'll start off with the little guys first, just to get them out of the way. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 squads of infantry, each one with a grenade launcher and auto cannon, and the sergeants have got las pistol and chain swords. We have a squad of mortars, a 6-man squad of crusaders. Really like these conversions here, very simple but very effective, and then a 6-man special weapons squad with 3 flamers. The characters today, we have a Tech Priest Engineer. Obviously he's going to be repairing those super heavies. We have a Lord Commissar who's going to be the Warlord today. He's going to have implacable determination, which means whenever he advances he can pick a unit within 3 inches of him, and they also get to advance, and they both count as rolling a 6, so quite manoeuvrable. He does have a plasma pistol, but he doesn't have a power sword. And then we have a company commander who also has a plasma pistol but no power sword, and he's going to be the relic bearer today. And the relic he's gone for is the Relic of Lost Cadia. And what we're saying is it's the Colonel Schaffer model, and he's got a cigar. And what Alex is saying is the Relic of Lost Cadia is Creed's half-smoking cigar. That when they were evacuating the planet, they found it on the floor, and he picked it up and was like, "This is the relic of Creed. It will remain forever as an inspiration to our men." Now, some of you may be wondering why he's gone for the Relic of Lost Cadia against the Genestealer Cult army. Obviously, it's better against Chaos. Sorry. Two reasons. One, it's fluffy. This is a pure Cadian army through and through. 722nd, you say?
Yeah.
722nd Cadian. But also because it does allow, even though it gets reroll ones to hit, it does also allow him to get reroll ones to wound, which with these bad boys here could be very effective. Now, moving on to the stars of the show, we've got 3 super heavies and a super heavy detachment. These guys are also in a battalion, by the way, for the extra command points. First one is a Hellhammer with the Hellhammer cannon, coaxial autocannon, 2 sponsons, both with las cannon and twin heavy bolter, the twin heavy bolter in the front, and the demolish cannon. Don't forget, these things do technically come with a las gun as well. So don't forget that. Then we have a Baneblade. Now, some of you might notice this Baneblade looks a bit different to the ones you've probably seen. This is an old school resin Baneblade. You can see there's some really interesting differences. The turret's a slightly different shape. The turret shield is. The barrels are much bigger. The body's a bit longer. Very, very interesting model here. A little slice of history when you can only buy Baneblades from Forge World. Weighs an absolute brick. You could probably brain a man with this thing. Now, this is coming with, again, a coaxial autocannon and the Baneblade cannon, demolisher cannon in the hull, twin heavy bolt turret there, and 2 sponsons, which also have las cannon and twin heavy bolter. Is this just for show, or is it going to be a heavy stubber today? Just for show today. So that's not been loaded today. So no ammo in the heavy bolter, but you did used to be able to get a little coaxial heavy bolt, which is very cool. And last but not least, a staple of many guard lists, we have a Shadow Sword. Obviously, it's got the Volcano Cannon, which is going to absolutely annihilate my light transports. A little overkill. I think I'm going to have to roll a lot of 6s on the rugby construction table. It also has a twin heavy bolter in the front, and it has 2 sponsons, both of which have las cannon and twin heavy bolter. This is again an old school sort of Shadow Sword. So this is back in previous editions, you had to swap the las cannons out for the targeting system. Now in 8th edition, they get the target system inbuilt, so those searchlights are actually very, very high intensity las cannons. And do you have the Hunter Killer on this, or is it again just...
It's just for show.
It's a victory firework. When they win, they let it off, and it explodes in the air, the big Aquila.
Yeah.
So there we go. Now I just wanted to mention this is actually a very special battle report. It's, Alex is a subscriber, avid viewer of the channel, and this is almost like a Meet the Mordian battle report. That's what we're going for. So this is the first time that any of my subscribers have sort of reached out to me and contacted me and said, do you want to have a game? And Alex was in the area, so absolutely fantastic. So thank you for him for coming down, bringing a very beautifully painted army. He's putting me to shame with my unpainted models, so he does deserve to win, so maybe I'll just concede now. You've won, there you go, because you have the full painted army. Thank you for coming down. No, I'm joking. We're going to get into it now. We're going to show you the board, the terrain, the mission. We'll get into all that in a moment. So this is the board we're going to be playing on today. We're down at Just Play in Liverpool. It's an absolutely fantastic club. I've done a few of my battle reports here. I've not been in a few months, but it's an absolutely fantastic club. They've got really, really good terrain, and they've been kind enough to sort of set us up with some of their sort of fine resin terrain. We're going to be playing on a ruined Gothic city today, so the Imperial Guard are going to have to clean out the Genestealer cult from this ruined city. But all these buildings were damaged in the initial uprising, and now the Guard are coming to claim them back from the vile cult. So absolutely fantastic venue, fantastic terrain. We've got a battle mat which is from Deep Cut Studios, absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I'd highly recommend you guys coming and checking out Just Play, because it is a really good club. They do events and everything, and run by a bunch of really nice guys, and the terrain is absolutely top notch. I mean, I'll give a quick pass around, but you can see lots of tables, lots of boards. They've got loads of stuff in the store over there, all 10% off, so give it a good look. And yeah, anyway, we'll get on with the battle report now. So here we have the field of battle after deployment. The Imperial Guard armoured corps with infantry support moving through this ruined hive. They don't know what's going on at the moment because there's nothing in front of them but some interesting blips appearing on the auspex. So the mission today is Visions of Victory, which is a chapter approved 2018 Maelstrom one. Essentially you draw 4 cards, but each time you draw a card you draw 2, and your opponent gets to pick which one you keep, which obviously can mean your opponent has got lots of opportunities to mess with your ability to gain victory points. However, the Genestealer cult will be spending 1 command point before the game for clandestine goals, which means Alex won't get to see which cards I draw, which means he will have to randomly determine which card I get to keep each time I draw them. So that's going to be interesting. Very Genestealer cult. The deployment today is Spearhead Assault. That's essentially sort of the pointy lengthways one. And we should say the narrative for this battle is that the Genestealer cult actually rose up, successfully took over this planet, and they thought, this is it, the time of ascension is here. And then they saw lights in the sky and they were like, yes, the star gods are here. But it wasn't the star gods, it was the Imperial Guard. And they were like, we're not going to let you have this planet. Now the motivation for the Guard being here is a little dubious. I mean, originally they were like, this is a backwater planet, we're not bothered about the about coming and taking it back. But then on the pick feed, the distress call came out, and these damsels in distress, which are the old Dark Elder slave ones, which we're using as objective markers today, said, please, we need help with the last survivors on this planet. And the company commander, being a bit of a Zap Brannigan type character, being a bit of a dashing Lord Flashheart, was like, we cannot let these brave souls of the Imperium fall. We must rescue them. And his men begrudgingly were like, all right, fine, we'll come along and we'll get ourselves killed so you can rescue these two damsels in distress. So that's the motivation. That's the storyline we got going on today. I should just point out the objectives before I forget. These have all been custom made by Alex, which is really cool. So we've got a little laptop here. That's objective 3. Objective 2 is the sort of shield pylon. Objective 1 is fuel canisters. Objective 5 is that searchlight, and the other 2, objective 6 is this damsel in distress, and objective 4 is that damsel in distress over there. So there we go. That's the mission. That's the setup. That's everything covered. Let's see. Now currently the Genestealer cult have the first turn, but do the Guard want to seize the initiative? No, the Guard don't want to seize. The reason being is because of all the firepower Alex has, basically if he goes first he'll blast me off the table, and then I won't get tabled because it's chapter approved, and his turn 2 firepower could just be completely wasted. Whereas if he lets me come in, a damage is screen, but then he gets turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, turn 5. He gets all the turns for firepower. So there we go. Let's see what the field of battle looks like after Genestealer cult turn 1. So end of Genestealer cult turn 1. The blips were revealed to be a light armoured column of repurposed mining vehicles and trucks, civilian trucks. We opened fire with everything basically into this first Guardsman squad. Now Alex had made my job very difficult, because he'd used take cover on them and prepared defensive, which meant those Guardsmen were on a 3-up save, which meant that I actually had to use every single unit to kill a 10-man Guardsman squad. But that's alright, we got first blood. We've removed one of his obsec units, which is very important. And I'm not going to reveal what cards I have drawn, because Alex obviously doesn't know, but I was able to score supremacy in my first turn. So I've got that objective, and that objective. So let's roll to see how many points I get for that card. Just the 1. No, not too bad, just the 1. So Genestealer cult, at the end of their first turn, have got 2 points. 1 for first strike, and 1 for supremacy. So let's see what the Guard can do going into their first turn. So the armoured might of the Imperial Guard struck back against these pathetic cultists, and boy did they strike back hard. So this truck here was subjected to, I think, 36 heavy bolter shots, 4 las cannons. These 2 fired essentially their small arms over at this truck here and absolutely annihilated it. The combined firepower from this main gun and this main gun unfortunately didn't do very much damage actually, but this main gun came over here and absolutely obliterated, I believe it was the truck that was here, And it's small arm sort of came in to help just finish this truck off, and there was a truck here, but obviously there's a shadow sword there now, because what happened is this shadow sword drove up here, and then it failed to do any damage to this with its heavy bolters and las cannons, but it did volcano cannon this Ridge Runner, and yes, my Manning laser does feel rather pathetic now when faced with a Titan killing volcano cannon.
32 wounds.
32 wounds. It wasn't able to flare launch all of them, sadly. And then it also crushed this truck here. He just crushed them. Now the reason he did that is so that he could secure objective 5, which is over there, and get blood and guts, which is here. In terms of guys piling out, these guys piled out, didn't lose any. These guys piled out, lost 3, and these guys piled out and lost 1. So we've been thoroughly demeched. We killed some guards, but in return the guardsmen have done a lot of damage. But now the Genestealer Cult are going to start bursting up from the shadows. Let's see what we can do to counterattack against these iron behemoths. So the Genestealer Cult have sprung a perfect ambush, a plan, generations in the making. Essentially what happened is this Shadow Sword commander, thinking that the puny rebels, because they don't even really understand its Genestealer Cult, the puny rebels, we've cleared away the armour, this is going in for glory. He didn't realise that lying underneath these streets in the sewers was a serious Xenos threat. Bursting from the ground, the rusted claw, neophytes jumped up here, and with supporting fire from these guys, we're able to fire waves and waves of just lead shot into this building and kill those 10 guardsmen there. These bikes jumped up here next to the Shadow Sword, did a bit of damage to it, and then drove off with extra grenades and drive-by demolitions. But the main event of the show was this Magus. Popped up within 12 inches of this Shadow Sword. She put mind control onto it and managed to overwhelm the tank commander's brain. He suddenly, for no explained reason, thought that the Genestealer Cult had somehow commandeered one of the super heavy tanks. Screaming at his gunners, "Turn around, fire, fire!" He shot and annihilated the Baneblade there. 5 shots, getting hit on 3s, rerolling 1s, I think. I don't even need the rerolls, did I? He's got 5 hits. And then because it's Titanic, all like the reroll wounds and stuff come in. Got all the wounds through. There was something like 34 wounds or something to the Baneblade. He says, shouting in triumph, he says over the radio, "Enemy super heavy, kill confirmed," and all he gets back over the radio is screams of, "The enemy haven't got any super heavies, you moron!" And suddenly the fog clears from his mind and he realises what he's done. So yeah, long story short, I mind controlled that and blew up a Baneblade. And then, if it couldn't get any worse, the Acolytes came in. I needed a reroll, but I got the perfect ambush. I got a 4. Got the charge off on the super heavy in between the 15-man Acolyte squad, which also got Mike from Beyond on them because I used my familiar to do that. And this squad got in as well, and these guys got in as well. They ate the Overwatch. We were able to kill the super heavy. It didn't explode, unfortunately. Even with the reroll, it didn't explode. So there we go, guys. Absolutely horrendous turn for the Guard. 2 super heavies down, a squad of infantry had been killed, and we've got bikers in amongst their lines, and a wave of cultists have sprung out of nowhere. But all my guys are incredibly fragile. None of them are classed as being in cover, and he has a Hellhammer, which is specifically designed for clearing things out in urban environments. So this is it. This is its time. He's still got these guys. He's got his counter-attack units in position and screening capability. He's got those Crusaders. So whilst the Guard have taken an absolutely horrendous blow, as I always say, the Guard get hit hard, but they can hit back even harder. Let's see what they can do going in to their turn 2, and the Patriarch is watching on, wondering. Should say the Genestealer Corps were able to secure behind enemy lines thanks to the bikers, hold the line thanks to these few units here, blood and guts thanks to killing the Shadow Sword in close combat, and overwhelming firepower by killing this squad here, but also, more importantly, the Shadow Sword killed the Baneblade. So that didn't kill 3 units though. So there we go. Genestealer Corps, even with all those cards, are only on 6 points to the Guard's 3, and the Guard have got their turn 2, so it's all to play for. So, as I predicted, the Guard got hit hard, but they hit back even harder. This is my dead power from this turn. Let's go through what happened. So, this unit of special weapon teams moved, advanced, and then moved, and they got 5 on the advance the first time, there's 6 on the advance the second time, so they went forward 23 inches, so then all the way from here, and they've moved all the way over here now. So they've really screened out, my Aberrants haven't got any room to come in around here, so they've really done a good job of screening. They weren't in range to shoot, so they thought we'll just screen as much as possible. They're going to die to shooting, but my reserves come in first, so that's actually a really effective screening tactic there. Company Commander did something similar. He moved, advanced, then moved, got himself over to here again, just to push out the screen because I can't come in around the back over here. And the Hellhound moved back a few inches just to increase the distance, because now there's like 5 inches between here, and then obviously I've got to come in 9 inches away from this guy. So even if I get a good on the perfect ambush, it's going to be difficult to get in there, very difficult. So my Aberrants are not in for an easy time of it. This Lord Commissar used his implacable determination warlord trait to move these 2 guys a little bit out of danger from the bikers, but B, helps screen out against the Aberrants. Again, I'm going to, between that and the mortars here, I basically can't get to this Hellhound, who is doing a very good job. And last thing to mention is this squad moved, and they need to get like a 5 or 6 in the advance, and they got it, and so he's holding that objective, which is very important because he scored troops on the ground this turn, because he holds 1 objective, 2 objectives, 3 objectives with troops. So absolutely fantastic. These guys back here are just in range of that objective. So, and the company commander as well, yeah. So should mention that the company commander drew out his cigar, Creed's Lost Relic, and lit it. He revealed the relic of Lost Cadia, and this meant that everyone in this sort of general area here got to reroll 1s to hit and to wound. Basically, that was the big event, was the Hellhammer there. And the Hellhammer went to town. So firstly the mortars fired into this squad here and killed 1, which then allowed overlapping fields of fire. Basically a smoke shell, marker shell came up here. And the Hellhammer then decided it had had enough of this bullshit and fired the Demolisher Cannon, the Heavy Bolters, and the Lasgun and the Auto Cannon into this squad with a little bit of fire from this Lasguns and this grenade launcher, because you can still fire that grenade launcher, wiped out the 15 Acolytes were here, and then the main cannon with perfect cadence and precision killed at exactly 10 wounds to the front rank of men here, blasted them away. So 25 infantry killed by a Hellhammer in 1 go. That's not too bad. He's probably on his way to get his points back, because those Acolytes are like 200 points, so he's doing pretty good. And then over here, these guys, I've got to take a morale check on those bikers, but the Crusaders moved, and then they used their faith point to move again, which allowed them to really, again, help screen out. So they charged in along with the Guardsmen into the bikers, killed the Wolf Quad, killed a biker, and then was able to do another wound to one of the bikers. So they've actually taken 2 casualties, so they've got leadership 8, they're okay actually. So there we go. So the Guard had a very good turn. I mean, they've wrapped. What's important is they've wrapped and trapped those guys, so I can't shoot them now. And they've screened out the Baneblade. The Hellhammer's going to be very difficult to get to. So yeah, it's and on the end of turn 2, the Guard are on 4 points, the Genestealer Corps on 6. So it's way closer than you'd expect after that turn 2 from the Genestealer Cult. So the Guard are now just going to basically keep screening that Hellhammer. And it's just going to keep doing lots and lots of work for them. So I predict, even though the Genestealer Cult had a good turn, that Hellhammer could win the game for the Guard. Let's see how it goes. See how the Genestealer Cult can spring their second ambush going into their turn 3. So the Genestealer Cult, the 3rd wave, surged forward. These guys came over here and fired 40 autogun rounds into this 6-man squad, and in a hail of AK-47 lead, they were destroyed. The Aberrants came in here, but due to the screening, it was actually very difficult for me to get anywhere near that Hellhammer. So what I decided to do is I decided to try and get as many characters as possible and as many units as possible, because one of the cards I drew was Kill the Unbelievers, my favourite troll card. But unfortunately, because the aberrants were out of range of this guy, they're only hitting on 3s and 4s, and Alex got quite lucky with his sort of refractor field save. So this guy lived, he made 3 out of 4 refractor field saves. Both of those characters made plenty of their saves against the hypermorphs, and then the guardsmen were killed, but they were killed. I didn't kill the sergeant, which technically they ran away, so they weren't killed by a Genestealer cult unit, so that unit didn't count. And then the Crusaders, because they've obviously got 3 invulnerable save storm shields, only lost 3. So, and then in return, they were able to kill 1, and another aberrant took a wound. They killed 2, and aberrant took a wound. So yeah, they actually did really well. I was able to kill a unit over here, which meant that I got 2 points for Kill the Unbelievers, and I also was able to score Claim Dominion, which, because there was a guard unit holding that objective, but I only got a 1 on the D3, so not great. So in total, I thought I was in for a big win there, going to get loads of points. I thought I was going to get 5 or 6 points, and I only got 3, which means I'm not actually comfortable now. I haven't tied up the Hellhammer. He's going to start deleting aberrants and stuff now. But the guard are a bit thin on the ground, but the Genestealer cult don't have a huge amount that can deal with these remaining guard units. So if the aberrants fall, it's going to be tricky. Let's see what the guard can do going in to their turn 3. I should just mention that these bikes came in. I didn't even have a good spot for them. I didn't have any enough command points to demo them. So they just dropped down here, and they didn't have anything to do, but they'll be effective sort of next turn. And I should say my 5 and unit dropped down here just to get line breaker. So the Imperial Guard did what they needed to do that turn. The Crusaders, using their faith ability, tried to strike the aberrants in combat, but unfortunately they struggled and didn't get any wounds. They've been doing really well, but it was about time they sort of balanced out. Everything else fell back from the aberrants, and then the Hellhammer unleashed everything into them after the mortars had had a tickle, and they were wiped out. No aberrants left, and essentially no threats to the Hellhammer left. So whilst the Genestealer cult in the first 3 turns have backed the guard into a corner, they have now got very little that can deal with a Hellhammer that's going to start going on the rampage. So we've got some psychic maybe and a mining laser, but it's not going to be easy. So the guard are definitely in a position here to do a pretty good counter-attack, especially if it goes to turns 6 and 7. It could go on. So let's see what the Genestealer cult can do going into their turn 4. I should say the final score at the moment is 8 to the Genestealer cult, 4 to the guard. They were unfortunately not able to get any points because I've got a couple of sneaky units in the deployment zone stopping them getting things like hold the line. One last little tidbit to mention is I did get defend 1 that from last turn, so that's actually 10 to the Genestealer cult there. So the Genestealer cult had a relatively light turn. Like I said, we haven't got any heavy hitters anymore. So these guys, a lot of, basically all my small arms, everything moved forward, all my stubbers, what rifles were in range, these guys over here, these 2 bikes, was everything went against the Crusaders. They survived all the stubbers, all the auto guns, but finally one was downed by the Atalan Jackal's 12-inch heavy flamer. Makes such a difference being 12 inches over 8 inches. It's an Atalan incinerator. And then because the shield wall was then broken, the remaining 2 were downed by shotgun blasts from the other bikers. So pretty cool there. The most cinematic moment was, I did smite 5 wounds off the Bane Blade, but there's a tech priest there, so that progress is going to be undone quite quickly. The only last cool thing to mention was the Jackal Alphas boosted forward within 36-inch range of the Lord Commissar, then designated him the target, then shot him. I did hit, I failed to wound, used a command point, so I'm down to 2. I did get the wound on the reroll, and then he did fail his armor save, D3 damage, and I got 3 damage. So the Lord Commissar, whilst desperately giving orders and rallying his men, unfortunately, headshot came out of nowhere and did take him out. So there we go, that's another point for the Genestealer cult. We also were able to secure objective 4, objective 5 and objective 4 for 2 points, so we're on 13 now. So we're trying to run away, but I reckon this Hellhammer's going to come out to play. No, Hellhammer It's going to come out to play now. Let's see what it can do going into guard turn 4. So the Imperial Guard Hellhammer gunned its engines forward, firing in every direction, ready to unleash 13 barrels of hell. It began just mowing down Genestealer cult units. It split its fire as much as possible just to remove as many bodies as possible, because at this point it's all about just removing individual Genestealer cult models, just getting as many off the board as possible. A couple were killed from these squads here. These guys were killed, two lost over here. These bikes lost 2 over here. This squad over here lost 2. These guys lost a couple. Basically, everything that it shot at, it basically killed 2 from each squad. So, not too bad at all. Total about 12 models were removed, which is not too bad at all. And then it decided to charge in. Now, even without crush them, it got an absolutely fantastic charge roll. Got in against the Magus, and even with the Familiar, she was just squished beneath the adamantium treads of this Hellhammer. And because of that, the Imperial Guard were able to score Witch Hunter, which gives them another point. But very sadly, Genestealer Cult revealed via their clandestine goals that they were defending Objective 2 and 4, which is this one and this one. I actually forgot I had those cards in my hand. And yeah, so that has given us a big lead now. So it is at this point, I think the Guard are going to struggle to come back on points. At this point, let's just see how much damage a Hellhammer can do. Genestealer Cult turn. Well, what we got in this turn was an example of what it would really be like trying to take down an Imperial Guard Super Heavy if you were just a normal rebel without any sort of, you know, alien aberrants or acolytes or psychic powers. If you were just a rebel trying to break free from the Imperium. And let me tell you, it's very hard. All my shooting, bar a couple of shots, went into this Hellhammer, and I don't think I did any damage to it at all. Just made all its saves. Absolute beast. The only really consequential thing of the turn was she boosted over here, he managed to keep up with her, so she's hit, and she designated the company commander, and she was still rerolling ones because of his warlord trait, and she was able to kill the company commander. And the bikes successfully bullied the mortars, and one was left on 1 wound, but he ran away on a bad leadership test. So there we go. I did try and charge in against the Hellhound with a unit of neophytes to tie it up, so then these guys could try and go in, but they were just brutalised by the Overwatch. So there we go. The Imperial Guard are just down to the Hellhammer, but that is not an insignificant asset. Let's see what the Hellhammer can do in its glorious last stand. I should say I did get no prisoners. I got 3 units and I got 2 points for that. And I did get Lalo the Oppressor. Very nice Genestealer Cult card. If I kill a character with a Genestealer Cult unit or Brood Brother unit, then I get a point. So that was done by the Sniper Lady and by the Patriarch. I should say, yeah, the Patriarch went in against the Tech Priest and pulled him limb from limb. The Hellhammer will not be denied. The Steel Behemoth is gunning forward into the Genestealer Cult lines. They've just got nothing that can stop it. The Guard crew Assassinate and Kingslayer for their cards, which clearly High Command is telling them to cut the command structure of the cult away, root out the insurrectionists, and don't leave anything left that can grow. Kingslayer's back here. They're not going to get it this turn, but they want to get it in future turns. But there was 3 characters, the Clamavus, the Icon Ward, and the Primus here. Splitting its fire, it gunned all 3 of those characters down, D3 points, and it got the big 3, so that's a nice boost for the Guard. They also finally got Advance, which was pretty nice. It then decided to try and pick on this Athlan Jackal, and it was really unfortunate. The Martial Cannon came in and got 4 wounds to it, and then I got 6 wounds to it, then I got 4 6s with the flare launcher, and then I tried to crush it and only did 1 wound to it, but it did also manage to crush a unlucky neophyte as well. So there you go, the Hellhammer's killed 3 characters, it's continued to just crush over here, and the Guard have got 4 points that turn, so quite a nice little boost for them. Let's see, that's the end of turn 5, so let's see if the game continues. I've got an evil Genestealer Cult dice here. Let's see if the Hellhammer will retreat or if it will continue gunning into the Guard lines. So 3, the game continues. Let's see how much more this Hellhammer can kill. Genestealer Cult continue to struggle against this Hellhammer. It will not bow. All the firepower came in, and it only we're talking heavy stubber rounds, grenade launchers, frag grenades, sniper rifles, everything. Also guns, shotguns. There's absolutely everything's going against this thing, and we did 1 wound. We basically damaged the little area up here. The only way we were able to do damage to it is we were able to mentally onslaught it for 2 and smite it for 2. So we are sort of chipping its wounds down bit by bit. but the firepower is just not doing anything. And again, it just gives you a great feeling for how Hellhammer really would work in 40k. Should also, before I forget, I was able to secure objective 3, secure objective 1, and master the warp. So Genestealer Cult got 3 more points, but at this point it's not about victory points, it's about what can this Hellhammer do. So let's see if it will continue its inevitable march in turn 6 for the guard. Hellhammer just continues to grind on. This unit should have grinding advance. It's absolutely insane. So it came forward, it split its fire into multiple units because Alex was trying to get psychological warfare, which he did successfully get. These guys did fail their leadership check. However, I was very lucky against all heavy bolters went to this guy, and Alex was a little bit unlucky, and I was a bit lucky because I was in cover. I did actually make it, so he did live. But to console himself, he decided to run over the Ridge Runner and absolutely just annihilated it. It didn't explode, it just got turned into a little bit of paste underneath the tracks. And he was able to sort of consolidate and swing round and everything, and using the sort of consolidation rules to his advantage and everything, he was able to get that, which is also one of his objectives, so he has got 2 points. So that's the end of turn 6. I'm going to let you roll it now, because I rolled the last turn. Let's see if it goes on. On a 4 or more, it goes on. Yes. It does. It's a turn 7 game. It will not be denied. The Hellhammer is absolutely smashing it this game. Let's see if the Cult can do anything to stop this Iron Behemoth. The Cult, ever being tricksy, managed to bring forward some last assets to damage the Hellhammer. We actually had a pretty good turn against this time. All the small arms again went in. We were able to pluck a wound off. Another one was done by Mental Onslaught. The tank commander here is actually proving quite resilient to mental manipulation, unlike his Shadow Sword friend. And then the hero of this turn was the Magus. He did 3 damage with his smite, charged in, and the neophytes here basically all ate the Overwatch for him by just getting 4 ups on him, questioning loyalty. And then he got in. He actually didn't do any damage, but pretty cool. He did actually live, and he survived getting squashed. He's got 1 wound left, and he got me Mars to the cause, which is fantastic. So I also managed to secure it to 2, secured it to 6, but like I said, at this point, victory points aren't that important. It's just what can this Hellhammer achieve. So let's see what the Hellhammer can do in its last hurrah, turn 7, what can it kill? So end of guard, turn 7, end of the game, absolutely fantastic. So the Hellhammer, whilst degraded, didn't let the side down. It was able to blast apart some guys from here. They were fearless because of the Warlord. It was able to kill these guys here. And unfortunately, these guys were pretty charmed and made a lot of their saves. But the nemesis of the Hellhammer, this Magus, was not allowed to live. The Hellhammer charged in, 2 hits, 2 wounds, no saves, and like a recurring anime villain who's finally killed off, the Magus was crushed underneath the treads of the Baneblade. So that's the end of the game. The Guard were pretty good though. They managed to get Mission Critical Objective 1, which is a point, which this one here, and Overkill, which was D3 which ones, and they got the big 3, so it was a total, they're on 16, which is pretty fantastic. Now I haven't counted up what the Cult are on yet. I will say that my last objective I wasn't able to score was Big Game Hunter, and I've been trying to get that since turn 3, but this thing just wouldn't die. So we'll count up the guards, the Cult cards, 1, 2, 3, and then we got 2 for that, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, plus First Strike, Line Breaker, and Warlord, 27. So, absolutely, I mean, if you just want to see, these are the amount of cards I have left in my deck that I can score. We've basically gone through absolutely loads of cards, but much closer game than I expected. It's only a 10-point difference. In terms of kill points, I think the Guard are way ahead. I mean, this is my dead pile, plus all this stuff over here, so massive dead pile. So running a little low on battery, but it was an absolutely fantastic game. Shake your hand again, Alex. I'm doing it left-handed, sorry about that. But there you go, good game, very good game. I've got a little bit of battery left, so let's see if we can do a bit of a wrap up. So there you go, guys. Let's do a bit of a rapid of an after action report. So from my point of view, I think the cult again played to the mission, but they were just unable to kill this super heavy. I mean, and what I thought was really good is that it was nice to see what a super heavy can do in sort of ideal conditions. And it just, if there's no knights with volcano lances around and you're able to take out your opponent's anti-armor, it does basically show that a Hellhammer is pretty unstoppable. I mean, it was getting shot at for what, 3, 4, 5 turns almost, and it just wouldn't die. In terms of what I thought worked well, I think the Acolytes did very well. The Bikers were pretty nice. The Aberrants didn't have an ideal target this turn, they just couldn't get in. They were well screened out, so it kind of shows, if you screen effectively against Cult, they can't really do very much. The last thing I would say is that the mixture of Cult traits was very nice. I think that did me a lot of favours. But what do you think, Alex?
What, is it my guys to the match?
Yeah, what did you about the match? What do you think worked? What do you think didn't work?
I think I made a mistake setting my Shadow Sword out way too early. I sort of was baited a little bit, and having no psychic support really hurt me because your psychics just do whatever the hell they wanted. Again, main man of the match being the Hellhammer, just going absolutely running amok. And yeah, I think the Crusaders did pretty good as well. Like screening and just like going ham in combat was pretty decent.
They were really good. I think the Shadow Sword, I didn't even really think about it until it was there, and I started popping my guys and I thought, well, hang on, I can actually get in mind control range of things. I never used the mind control power because it's only got a 12-inch range, so you rarely get a chance to use it against something good. I think the fact that the Shadow Sword blew up the Baneblade and then was killed itself, that was a huge deal, and I think that's what allowed the Cult to win. I think the Cult would have got 2 super heavies that game. The Aberrants probably could have got in against one of them a bit more reliably. So I think I would have got 2, but I think it would have been a much closer game. I think if you'd had 2 super heavies instead of just 1 from turn 2 onwards, I think it would have definitely either been a draw or a win in your favour.
Yeah,
or the Cult, it would have only been a minor win either way, maybe 1 point or 2 points to you, 2 points to me. That was the moment there that the Guard were on the back foot, and they had to try something to pull it back. And the second thing was the fact that I could see what cards you were trying to score.
Oh, that was nasty.
And you
so
couldn't
horrible.
see what cards I was trying to score.
For 1 command point, it's like it's worse than Vect. It's like Vect in every turn. Like, it's crazy. Like, yeah, absolutely mental.
I do think it's interesting. I think it's very good, and it's not really allowed in tournaments though. The reason it's not allowed in tournaments is because there's a chance that someone could cheat because they could just sort of hide their cards and then not tell. So it's a bit unfortunate you wouldn't get to use it because it's a very competitive ability. It's just a shame that people could. Yeah, exactly. So it's nice to use it in these sort of games, but I wouldn't be allowed to use it in a competitive game, unfortunately. But yeah, I think we had a really good game, really friendly game. It was nice, very narrative. The fact that the Genestealer Cult came in, very cinematic as well, and very sort of how the game's meant to be. Genestealer Cult are meant to come in, wreck face, and then they have to survive. And that's basically what we were able to do, just running around, bullying the sort of smaller units when I could. But yeah, it was a really good game. I hope you guys really enjoyed it, and of course, we'll end with a shot of the Hellhammer. We'll see you guys next time.